Brothers and sisters, the last time I saw Mumia on a legal visit was about 5 years ago. This brother is strong, and now, notwithstanding the torture, psychological torture that he has faced, he has not buckled. When I listened to him today, he was strong today as he was 5 years ago. Mumia and other brothers on death row are kept in solitary confinement. That is, they are denied any human contact, either with each other or with close relatives or friends. Visits are conducted through heavy bulletproof plexiglass with the inmate in chains, shackled as an animal. Mumia has had to endure this for 30 years. 30 years on Pennsylvania's death row. 30 years under the threat of imminent death. It is my proposal to you tonight, as the permanent representative of the International Association of Democratic Lawyers. I am prepared to recommend to my organization that we launch an international campaign for the release of Mumia Abu Jamal on the basis, partly the decision out of the Second Circuit, that his death sentence was illegal, and therefore he was wrongly held on death row for 30 years. Wrongly held on death row in violation of the 8th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. Was also in violation of the 1984 International Convention Against Torture, which was signed by the United States of America in 1988 and ratified by the Congress of the by the Senate of the United States in 1994. This makes this international treaty binding on national law, pursuant to Article 2 of the United States Constitution. Now, some of you may say, what have you been smoking, Hinds, that you believe that we can get any kind of a relief in the U.S. courts? I have argued, I have written over the years, that the courts have been no friend to black people. It is the Supreme Court of the United States that branded us and legalized slavery. It is the same court that declared us 3/5 of men. So the court has never been the friend of us. Mumia is not facing death today, not because of judges or the courts. It is because of you, the power of the people. But we have to use contradictions that we find within the system and use it to build our case. What do I mean by that? Just 2 months ago, a justice of the United States Supreme Court by the name of Stephen Breyer wrote an opinion, a dissent. This was a case in which a man by the name of Manuel Valley had petitioned to stay in execution. Valley was in prison for 33 years. The Supreme Court denied his petition. And Justice Breyer made a very interesting and forceful argument, which I believe we can use to free Mumia. Breyer said that Manuel Valley, who had spent 33 years on death row, that amounted to cruel and unusual punishment, and pointed out that foreign courts had ruled that living for decades under the threat of imminent death is a form of psychological torture. On October 18th, the United Nations Rapporteur on Torture, a man by the name of Juan Mendez, he reported to the 66th General Assembly, Third Committee, that he was proposing a ban, a worldwide ban, on the practice of prolonged solitary confinement. I believe that we can file a petition with the Human Rights Council pursuant to ECOSOC Resolution 1503 and 728F, in which we will charge that the practice of prolonged solitary confinement, individuals on death row, amount to cruel and unusual punishment in violation of both U.S. law and international law. As part of this campaign, this international campaign, I propose that we also submit the case of Mumia Abu Jamal to the Committee Against Torture, pursuant to Article 20 of the covenant that was signed by the United States. That is a treaty between the United States and the international community. Article 20 provides that any cases where an individual has been subject to torture, that case can be brought before the United Nations and that there will be a hearing. I want to thank you for the opportunity